Hi, I'm Paul Kyogan from GKTuition, and in this video I want to talk to you about algebra. Now the question I've chosen to go through is 2016 Paper 1 Question 2. In this question we're asked to find the range of values for which the absolute value of x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 2. Now you'll notice here that I've written down my range here. When a question says find a range of values, you should recognize that range is another word for inequality. If you're asked to find a range of values, that means your answer must be an inequality. So, for example, your answer will be x is less than 2, or something along those lines. X is less than 2 is a range of values, as opposed to x is equal to 2, that's not a range of values, that's just one value. So if a question says range, it means your answer is an inequality. Now you should recognize that in order to get rid of your absolute value signs here, you have to square both sides. So on the left hand side it's going to become x minus 4 multiplied by x minus 4. If I multiply x minus 4 by itself, I get x squared minus 8x plus 16. And 2 squared is equal to 4. So all I've done there is squared the left and squared the right, and you'll notice that my absolute value signs are gone. So I have an x squared, an x, and a number, so clearly this is a quadratic equation. So I want to bring everything to the left, and then I'll be able to factorize it. So if I subtract 4 from both sides, I'm going to get x squared minus 8x plus 12 is greater than or equal to 0. Now at this point, the next thing I want to do is factorize this quadratic. But before I factorize it, I want to rewrite it, and instead of an inequality, I'm going to write it as an equation. So it's just equal to 0. So all I've done is instead of my greater than or equal to sign, I've put in a 0. Now I can factorize and solve my quadratic. So the factors of this quadratic are x minus 6 and x minus 2. Once I know my factors, I can just let each one equal to 0 and find the roots. So if I let x minus 6 equal to 0, I'll get x is equal to plus 6. X minus 2 equals 0, which means x is equal to 2. So my answers are x equals 6 and x equals 2. However, so they're the roots of this quadratic. However, I want to find the range of values for which this quadratic is greater than or equal to 0. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw a sketch of my quadratic. Okay, so you should know that if there's a plus in front of your x squared, if there's a positive number in front of your x squared, that means it's a U shape. So my quadratic looks something like this. And I know that my quadratic crosses the x-axis at 2 and the x-axis at 6. So I know that this is a 2 and this is a 6. I was asked, when is the quadratic greater than or equal to 0? Well, it's greater than 0 when it's above the x-axis. So it's greater than 0 here or to the left of 2, and it's greater than 0 to the right of 6. Okay, or you could view it as this bit. So my graph is greater than 0 to the left of 2 and to the right of 6. Now the one thing you have to notice is that's two different regions. If it's two different regions, it has to be two different answers. So to describe this section, the one to the left of 2, that means that x is less than or equal to 2. That's a range. That's a range of values. The other section is to the right of 6, so that's when x is greater than or equal to 6. Again, that's a range of values. So my two answers in that case are x is less than 2 and x is greater than 6. You cannot write them as one continuous region. I know in a lot of the textbooks and in different places it pops up where they write it as one continuous region. But the only place that they've consistently never written this as one continuous region is in the Leave Insert exam marking scheme. So if it's two separate regions, then it's two separate answers.